Hello, hello. We're back here in our weekly episodes by my crazy, fun, beautiful life. I can't believe we're in episode 7. Like, oh my God. And there's a lot of stories I haven't actually told you guys. They're kind of in the middle of it, but I guess that later on we'll get to them. Or once we start kind of going into the whole tools that helped me get where I am and understand my life and kind of move forward. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope that you have been enjoying it. I am super happy. I got a Spotify notification that I've got 250 streamers, which means people that have actually listened to it. I'm like, oh my God, I've got people that want to listen to my story. Like, it's just mind blowing for me, and I'm really happy. I'm really proud, and I'm really grateful. Like, that's kind of the biggest thing that I have to say. I'm like super thankful for all of you guys to be listening, to be joining every week. And here we go. Oh my God. This has been a little bit of a tough episode to think about, because I think not only that it's so recent, because I was in Barcelona. I arrived 2017. Yeah, I think it was 2017. And I stayed up to almost 2019, September 2019. So it was almost almost 3 years, 2.5 years. Okay, so, it's been hard because, this was the beginning of my rock bottom. We would say, and once you listen to it, you'll be going like, what the fuck, that was not rock bottom? No. I needed to touch a little bit more of the hole in the ground to be able to really start going up. I don't think you always have to do that. I just think that sometimes it depends of, everything that's happened to you and how well you got your brain trained and all this type of stuff, that it allows you to move through or move forward with certain things. But for me specifically, because we're talking about my story now, it was really hard because I was always super stubborn. I was like, I know best. Like, I know what it is. I've left the love of my life, so now I can take life. Now I'm free, and now I'm just gonna be this bitch. And life kind of slapped me a little bit and brought me not as much down to earth, but it kind of made me think about what I was constructing in my reality. Because I did think that, obviously, because of everything that had happened, I always had someone to blame. I was always a victim, like all this shit has happened to me, And this experience showed me that I was just creating the same shit on loop. It wasn't them. It was just what I was accepting, what I was doing, what I was just in auto repeat, just in a loop. And every time it got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So I couldn't blame anyone. I had to just take accountability for my life. So anyways, let's keep back on track. I left off where I come to Barcelona, live in the roundabout, and the whole bloody cute little story about, living that toxic relationship, which is really hard for me to still talk about it, because obviously my brain is still understanding the toxicity that I went through. It still sometimes kind of goes, shit, Ola, that was we had really good fun times, and there was a lot of love from my part. And I know that he loved me as well. I just think that, again, your love or the relationship that you're in is kind of a reflection of your self-love. And obviously I had no self-love whatsoever, or no self-love or self-worth. I just felt I wasn't worth it. I was shit. I was just, who's going to believe me? Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? So anyways, we live in that roundabout. I arrive in Tarragona. I had an auntie there, one of my mom's sister. She's lived there for a long time. She's got a few kids, and one of them is kind of my same age. He's a little bit older. He was living there too, in that house. So I arrived, and it was really kind of tough for me because they're very super religious, really religious. They have a church inside of the house, religious, extreme Catholics. So obviously I arrive, I'm like, so happy, like, fuck, I made it, I got out, like, yay, I went to Thailand, and that whole Thailand experience, as I mentioned before, was when I started kind of drinking again, and it's kind of shit because obviously drinking kind of got me again back into a track that I guess I had to live, but it was just, I mean, anyways, so I arrived in this house and she started straight away like going like, you're in fault. Why didn't you stay? Why didn't you fight for your marriage? You shouldn't do this. This is not what they say. You always have to stick by it. Like, you have to do blah, blah, blah. I have to. I was always to blame. And I was like, okay, I just left hell to come to little hell. Like, I don't want to take this shit. Like, no. So, they knew about my whole experience with like being in school and not being able to kind of properly graduate and not having like a university degree, all this bullshit, which I regret doing about it anyways. I just had the experience of working with this guy and with my ex-husband in his business. And that gave me a lot of experience in other things that I didn't even know, but it came in handy when I came to Barcelona. So, I just said to her, like, I'm just going to go and find a job in the city, like, because Tarragona is like an hour, 40 minutes from Barcelona city. And I thought, I'm just going to go there. I'm going to see what up, like, or just get a job anywhere. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I was just feeling so blessed of being able to leave that relationship that I just didn't care. I thought if I did that, I'll be able to do anything. Like, I just felt, invincible in that moment. So, I talked to her and I say, look, I'm going to go and get a job. Like, I'm going to go get a place there. Like, I'll just rent a room out. And she, she obviously started bashing me. Like, no way. Like, you're not going to be able to do it. Look at your cousin. He works in I don't know what. How are you going to just come and get a job? Like, you're just being dumb. And I just thought, you know what? Like, again, thank you for saying that I wasn't going to be able to do it, because that gave me the strength of going, I will show you, bitch. I love her for that anyways, because I feel that if she didn't make me uncomfortable, I wouldn't have moved. I would have just gotten comfortable there. So I decided to go to Barcelona. I kind of applied for a few jobs, but I didn't know what to apply for. So I was just randomly applying for anything that I could get money with, and I could just pay the rent in this room. So I was staying in the middle of the city. I got this apartment, which I thought it was a great idea. So it was like I had my own room, and there was like 2 rooms more, I think it was, but they were from Airbnb. So it will be people coming in and coming out, and I will be the only one that was kind of stable in there. It wasn't that much of a great idea because people obviously came drunk. They would knock on my door. It was just, I felt very unsafe because I didn't know who people were. But anyways, I was happy there for a few months. I firstly started working for, what is it called? For like the Red Cross. Like I had experience already with like customer service and kind of doing the whole admin stuff, but I was still, because I didn't have no self-worth. I didn't know what I could do. I didn't know if I could apply for better jobs or whatever. So I started this job with the Red Cross where we had to go and sell lottery tickets to people randomly in the street or knock in the door like in mid-lunchtime and try to get them to make donations. So this company hired me to do that. I only did it for like 2 weeks, to be honest. But they were like impressed with me. They were like, okay, they started doing even like personality tests and all these type of like kind of things to figure out like, who is she? Where is she coming from? Why is she applying for this job? Like, she's got so much potential, but obviously I didn't see that potential at all. I didn't know. Like, when they started telling me all this good stuff, I was like, okay, I can do that, okay. Wow. So like in a week I was already training people of how to do it. Like, I would teach people how to open the door and kind of recognize what they needed to talk about. And it became, I don't know if my self-awareness of what everything was happening and whatever gave me that little bit of an understanding of knowing if people were comfortable, what to talk about them with. Like it made me a people reader. And then that obviously in sales, well, it kind of gave me a big kick. I didn't even know I was good at sales, like at all. So, you know, they started telling me like, oh, we want to give you these offers. And so like, you can start a new thing. And I got really mad because I was like, they're donating this. You're supposed to give the kids this. You're giving me this amount, which was good money. Where is the money for the kid go? Because you have to earn money because you're a company. Like, what the fuck is going on? So I said no, because obviously I think that one of the things that I've been raised with is very big values. Like, I won't do anything that harms people or lies, anything. Like, I won't do it. I just can't do it. It just, my body just, I'm not allowed for some fucking reason. Life would be so much easier. But I just can't. I always used to say like, fuck, I would have been such a good bad person, but I can't do it. I don't know if it's my empathy. I have no bloody idea, but it's a pain in the ass sometimes. But anyways, I'm glad that I did it. So I said to them like, you know what, like I'm very fishy about it. So I just don't know, like, thank you very much. Like, I'll keep doing this. And then, you know, in Thailand, I met this group of people and they live in Stockholm. So, you know, we were talking and they were like, well, why don't you just visit us? So I went to visit them for like a weekend. And when I was coming back, I met this guy in a plane. And he looks at me and he goes like, oh, so what are you doing? Like, what do you work at? And I kind of told him I was at the Red Cross. And I was like, what the fuck? What are you doing there? Like, why don't you work in sales? Like, you've got, you know, kind of the attitude and this and that. And if you're teaching people how to do sales or draw, like, you will be really good doing actually like phone sales. Like, you know, like, why don't you just upgrade? And I went, okay, well, let me know if you hear of anything. But I wasn't really looking for like a full-on job. I just got divorced after 10 years. I never went to a concert. Never went to a festival. I didn't go out partying. Nothing. Like, I didn't even go to Ibiza ever because he wouldn't let me be in a bikini. You know, he didn't like it. We always secluded, or we always went to places where there was nobody, or like, you know, things like that. Now I notice it, but like in that moment, I just thought, hey, let's go to nature. Let's go to the mountain. Let's go here. I didn't care about Ibiza anyways. But, you know, he was like, well, you've got a lot of options that you can do. And I'm like, what do you mean I've got options? Like, me options? Like, what? I thought I just had to do whatever was given because I didn't know. I didn't evaluate myself at all. People would see that value in me and I'll be like, oh my God, I was so surprised. I was like, what? I'm actually valuable? Like, what the fuck is going on? So anyways, this guy said, he calls me up and he goes, Rosa, I've got this interview for this company that's like a big company and they do like the sales for software over the phone, and they're like really well known, and it's a really fun company. It's like working for Google, so they have like this stuff and games and like, you know, like all these incentives and all this crap. Like, why don't you just come with me? And I thought, well, okay. So I sent over my resume and they said, you know what, like, yeah, just come for an interview and we can kind of have a look and see. So that day, obviously, I've never caught public transport in Barcelona, let alone, but not even in Spain. I didn't really know. And in Colombia, there's no trains, there's nothing. And I've caught buses when I was little, but like, I had no idea how to get it done. So that day I got so lost. I spilled the coffee in my shirt. I get to that interview running around like a crazy person. I'm like, oh my God, I'm here. I finally arrived. And they looked at me and I had my whole coffee spilled in my shirt and shit. I'm like, I'm so sorry. But like, yeah, you know, like this doesn't happen. So there was this guy there and I was just talking to him and I was like, oh my God, you speak Spanish? Because he was speaking Spanish and like English and stuff. So we're like kind of chatting. When then that guy goes, okay, so let's all go to the interview. And I went, oh, holy shit, he works here. I went, okay, I thought he was going to be in the interview too, but no worries. Hi, how are you? When then I noticed he was the boss. I was like, oh God. I just told the boss all my crazy stories and how I spilled my coffee. And I was just, you know, a bit hyperactive, and you're like, fuck, like, okay, doesn't matter. Like, I'm here, let's just get it done. So we sit in this table, we're like 20 of us, and I sit right next to him, like right next to him. It was like an oval kind of table, and everyone was round, and everyone was further away from him, and I just sat right next to him. And I don't know what question he did some random question, but obviously me teaching already sales and being that kind of thing, I just thought, I'm just going to answer. Even if I don't have the right answer to give, at least it shows that I'm there. Like, I want to get it done. Like, what the fuck? And I noticed that they were going to be good pay. So I thought, why not? Let's just get it done. So I answered. I obviously answered wrong. It wasn't what he was expecting me to answer. But out of the 20 people that were there, I was the only one who actually got the job. I was the only one. So, I've never done sales before. I was because I had to work for the UK market. So they were telling me, like, your English is good, but it's not that good. You've still got an accent, but you can't work for the Spanish market because you don't have a Spanish accent at all. Like, you have a Spanish, but Colombian, but like, it's so weird that professionally, it's not a good view. So we're just going to use it for the UK market. Please practice your English. Oh my God, okay. Holy crappity crap prep. So, I start doing this training for them, which was very fun because I could see the atmosphere. Like, the atmosphere of the office was like, this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. That. It was practically that. It was just a fun, crazy atmosphere in the office. Our incentives were alcohol, so, it was kind of downfally for me, but at the same time was like my motivator. There was a lot of young people and like people my age from everywhere around the world, so I was just like, yes, this is fun, like I want to do it. And I remember I was training and I was training with this French guy, which he's so cute, and I was struggling like really bad, like, oh my God, like I swear, like it was so tough. And I didn't know anything about software. I didn't know what the cloud meant. I didn't know what data management meant. I didn't know anything about what I was doing. I was just full on, let's just get it done and lie our way through. Practically it. So I remember we were like kind of doing training. So, we've already gone through the whole thing, and like my managers were in the other room and they called me like to have a conversation, like a kind of like a test kind of call. And she brings me over and she goes, Rosa, like, are you sure you're going to be able to do this? Like, I just don't see the potential in you. And I was like, oh my God, I just don't understand. I was so freaking out. I was like, I'm going to lose this job opportunity. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. And then she gave me something that opened up my mind for sales all around. Like, that phrase was a fucking changer in my whole life. She looked at me and she goes, what would you say to a friend if they tell you they're going to go to Paris to live right now? Why, when, what, why, when, where, woo! The 5 whys. Why, when, how, with who, and where. Anyways, the 5 whys. And it was a game changer. Like, from that moment on the next call that we did, it was amazing. And then I stayed there for about 6 months, yeah? And I was in top 10 the whole time. Like, my biggest kind of achievement there was I was in 400% of my target. And I had a very complicated campaign, which was Veritas technology. I didn't know what I was talking about half of the time, but I was just opening business for them. So, it was just cheeky and whatever. But I'll get into it in a minute. So we get to the job and we're like, okay, so they're going to be doing like an annual integration, whatever thing, party, blah, blah, blah. So, we get to that meeting, and then afterwards was we're going to the beach and we're going to be having drinks. It's all paid for. So we go to this chiringuito, which is like a little bar in the beach in Barcelona. And yeah, we're just gonna have fun. I was not ready for that, but anyways, that opened up a door for so much crap. So we obviously started drinking. It was really early when we started drinking. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we're like drinking gins and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking. And obviously I had come from not drinking for 5 years, and I was already there. I think it was a month or something like that. I just had arrived to Barcelona. So, my drinking capabilities were not like on point. So we were at this beach party, and there was this guy, and I got really drunk. My friend, the 60-something-year-old, she came to visit me again in Barcelona that day. She arrived late at night. I don't even remember her arriving. But the next morning I wake up and I have this guy laying next to me and my friend sleeping in my feet. And I'm like, what the fuck happened last night? Where am I? Like, where's the party? Like, what the fuck happened? Like, I have no memory of that night. Fully blanked out. I think that I abused alcohol so much that Barcelona showed me that if I had a few drinks, I would just lose my memory. Like, totally. Like, I do not know what happened at all. And sometimes they'll say that I was acting normal, like I wasn't even that drunk, but I can't remember. So alcohol for me became very dangerous. I'm like, fuck, like, not being able to remember what the fuck you did or just blanking out totally was just like, what's going on in my brain? Like, this is just too much. But anyways, so obviously this guy was totally opposite of my ex-husband. Totally opposite. He was an introvert. He was very, work orientated. He was just so different. Physically, emotionally, personality, it was the opposite of him. But the only thing they had in common was they were big manipulators. And obviously without you having a self-worth or whatever, I kind of went with the flow with everything. Why do I say this? Because, I started going obviously to the job. He's there and he kind of started becoming very serious. And I kept saying to him, like, I've been in a 10-year relationship. It's been only a few months that I've been alone. I do not want to get into another relationship. Like, I'm not ready. I'm so fucking traumatized right now. I can't. And because he was so determined in his sales job, I think he got me as a project of sales. So he did everything he could to get me to be his girlfriend. So, we start kind of going out. And I think that as well, I was so used to having someone in my life. I was so used to putting all my shit with somebody else to take care of me, because I didn't have the tools to take care of myself by myself. It just didn't seem like I had no idea what I was doing. So, I even remember one time, because I went to this apartment, right? And I had brought my car. I had brought 8 bags of clothes and a little cooking machine that I had that I loved, La Thermomix. I brought it with me because I love that. I loved it. So, I like to cook. So I was like, yeah, well, this is my machine. So when I was sleeping in that room, like I had my bed, but my bed was right next to the interior of the building. So I could literally hear when someone was taking a shit. Like one of my neighbors was showering, I could hear them. If they farted, I could hear them. And, it was very funny for me because after coming from living in mansions and having all this money and all this access to different things, to go to sleeping in a room that was tiny, listening to people fart, having to go up to 5 flights of stairs without no elevator, because in Barcelona the buildings are old, so most of them don't have an elevator. And I was like, and my mom used to she's like, oh my God, like, how are you going? I'm fucking happy. Like we had a lot of money, but I was so unhappy that now I have no money whatsoever because I had no money. I spent all my money in Thailand. All of it. Like I was just scraping by. And that moment the government was helping me for like a year that I kind of had, that I could show that I was working. So it was like 2 months of help. So that's why I went and got this job. So anyways, this guy, he started kind of pressuring me into going being in a relationship with him, and I don't know what the hell, and we were working together. So I was getting into the same type of relationship that I had before, and that was freaking me the hell out. The only thing was he was really healthy. Like he was a gym fanatic, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do drugs, nothing. Like he was the opposite of my ex-husband. And I thought, it could be a good match, maybe, but he was just so controlling in that sense. Like I couldn't drink, I couldn't smoke. And now I see it and I go, well, fuck, that was good. That could have been good for me in a way. But in that moment, I felt like control. Like you're trying to control me again. Like I do not want this. Like I just went through this shit and no. So I'm going to get my own little studio, which I got a little tiny studio in like a lower part. It was fucking cold. It was shit. But I loved it because it was the first time that I was actually alone. I was there for a month. Only for a month. Shit started happening. But anyways, gonna get to that in a minute. So, you know, I'm going out with this guy already. He was like drooling me because I was like, let's just have something casual. I was like, no, girlfriend. So, you know, we started a relationship. And in that time, I did see my ex-husband a few times. Like I would go back to Albacete and kind of see my dog. And, you know, we kind of maintained a friendly relationship. Now I'm aware that the only thing he was just waiting for me to come back. Like he just thought, she's not going to make it. She's going to come back at some point. Haha. But anyway, so, you know, I called him and I said, you know, like I'm going out with this new guy. Like, I don't know, he pressured me and I'm like in a relationship now. And so this new guy, he had his best friends that like motorcycles, and his friend had an accident and had blown a few teeth of his mouth, exactly kind of the same that I did with the kick. And me being me, I'm like, oh my God, don't do it here, do it in Colombia. This is how much it costs. This is how much da-da-da. And you can have a trip and da-da-da. And I got all this fucking shit done. When then they go, okay, so we'll come with you in December. I got divorced March. I think I arrived in June. I arrived in Barcelona. We were talking about going in December because I was already going to go and see my family. And I was like, wait, I didn't mean for you guys to come with me. I meant you go all by yourself, you know? Like, what the fuck am I going to do? My family don't even know that I got divorced. Like, my mom knew, and my stepdad knew, and like the auntie that lived here, but nobody else knew. And I kept coming for 10 years in a row with my ex-husband, which he was a little bit of a darker skin, you know, his very dark eyes, very dark hair, and this new guy was Belgian. He was tall, he was blonde, blue eyes, white as shit. I'm like, oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? Like, this is just crazy. Like, I wasn't expecting them to say, I'm gonna come with you. But anyway, so I called my ex-husband, great freaking idea. And I tell him, you know, I'm going out with this new guy, da-da-da-da-da. And I kind of fucked up. And he goes, what do you mean? And I went, well, you know, he had the whole teeth situation and I explained to him. And that moment, everything changed with my ex-husband. Like, that moment, I think he felt, okay, now she's gone. Like, really, she's gone. Like, that's it. She's going to take another man home. Like, what the fuck? And things just started getting very dark from there. So, you know, okay, so I tell him we're going to go. And we arrive in Colombia. He didn't even get his teeth freaking done there. He got them done in Barcelona. But they just already jumped on the trip. Like, again, it was me not saying no. I couldn't say no. I couldn't say this is not what I want. I was just going with whatever was taking me within the flow and freaking shit. But anyways, that's how it happened. So, you know, we come to Colombia. We do all this stuff. Da-da-da-da-da. Obviously, my ex-husband was already kind of no contact. Like, it was just like, he was like, you know what, fuck you for doing that. And we get back from Colombia and everything started falling apart for me. Everything. Like, I was in my top stuff with work. I had my own apartment. You know, I was dealing with the whole alcohol situation and stuff, but I was really calm because obviously I was going out with him and he wouldn't allow it, kind of thing. So, you know, I was kind of in a good space, let's say. But when I came back from Colombia, everything just went like a fucking bomb. It was like that. I can't explain it any other way because it was like that. Like, so I broke up with him. I got not fired because I thought I was doing so well in that job that I thought, you know what, fuck this shit. I'm not going to make more money for other people. I'm going to make it on my own. So I started working for Century 21 as an independent broker. Anyways, you know, so everything started crumbling. In my apartment, I lost the electricity. Supposedly somebody called with my ID and canceled the electricity in the middle of winter because it was January, cold as shit. It was just crazy. So I was getting sick. I had pneumonia. Everything around me was falling apart. All the friends that I had built, everyone was kind of getting further away and further away. It was just like, I was thinking, what the fuck? I remember sitting down going, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't understand anything. Like, why? My health, my love, my money, my work, my everything just went and crumbled. What happened? Like, I was doing good, you know, like I was kind of getting there, and what the fuck? So, you know, I break off things with this guy, and it was in a really bad way. Like, I think from all the breakups that I've had, he was the one that we kind of broke up in really bad terms. Then we got better, and now I think we could talk if we find each other in the street. But in that moment, I was so over everything. I was so sick. I was so everything that I kind of stood up to him one day, because he was doing certain things already, because we weren't working together. So, you know, there was like lies in there, and there was like a few things, and I kind of stood up and I told him, fucking break up with me. Like, it was really bad. And I was being a bitch about it. I think that moment I started drinking really bad. So I even bloated up. I've got photos from that era, and it's like unrecognizable. Like, I was just drinking and started doing drugs to maintain the drinking and the level of drinking that I was doing, right? So, you know, I'm kind of going, like, what the fuck is going on? So I had a group of friends, and I was getting that bad because I was smoking weed every day. I had because every time I've always had the best contracts for drugs. And alcohol, and more in Barcelona, it's everywhere. I didn't have to pay anything for it. Nothing. Like, everything was just there for you. If you want to have fun, if you want to go fucking cookie nuts, there you go, there it is. For all the other stuff, no. But for partying and drugging, yes, it was always available. So, you know, I started working for Century 21, and I was in sales, so it was really hard. Like, really fucking hard. Like, I had to get my own pamphlets, and I have to do all this stuff, and ba-da-da-da-da, and I worked in this company that was a Catalan company, so I didn't even understand what they were saying. Like, it was just, you know, it went from a very good recognized job to not knowing what the fuck I was doing. And the reason why I quit that good job wasn't only because of the money that I was making them. It's like, oh, so I want to make my own. It was because they started playing with me a little bit. So they would put the charts of who was the best ones, and I was always in the top ranked. But they started putting it right next to me, and they started giving me accounts that I couldn't really call. So I was always calling the UK, but they were giving me Switzerland, or they were giving me other countries that English wasn't the main language. And I know what they were doing it in a way, because I never went up, and even sometimes they would tell me, like, why are you training other people? Like, normally you're doing the job, you shouldn't be doing that. Like, you should go up. But just because I never had that confidence in me, I never applied for anything else. I never did try to do anything else, like nothing. So what they were doing, they were trying to incentivize me to get better and to move forward. But what that did, because obviously I didn't love myself, because obviously I was looking for exterior validation, when they stopped validating me and started showing me to try to do it as in manipulative ways, I cracked. I went, no way. Like, you're not going to play with me. You're not going to do this shit. Like, I'm just going to leave. And even one of the boss's wife, she looked at me and she's like, protocol, or whatever. And she was like, you could have been the one who took my job away. Like, there was nobody here that could have thought that was a threat for me. Like, she was saying, you're that fucking good, right? But I didn't listen to those words. So I got into this bloody Century 21, and it took me a year to sell one freaking apartment. And in that year, because I'm stubborn as shit, I was like, you know what, I'm not quitting. I'm selling this house. If nobody has done it, if somebody has done it, I'm gonna do it. And if nobody has done it, I'll be the first one. Like, that was my mentality. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And obviously my ego got so inflated because how well I did in that job, that I thought, I'm just gonna fucking rock it, yeah? So when it didn't happen, and when I started getting really bad, and, you know, I didn't really have any money at all. When I mean at all, was at all. Like, I didn't have money to eat at all. I moved into this new place after, because I went and lived with this guy. We were together for like a year and a half. I lived with him for a few months only. We didn't last that long after we moved in together. And I moved to this new place by myself again into a room, and there was like all the rooms. It was like a big house in Bourne. It was like in the middle of it, right next to the beach. I loved that house. Like I just thought, okay, I'm not going to be able to maintain myself like this. Like, I just need to sell this freaking house, and then I will be able to get the money to kind of compensate. So when I entered this room, there was like a little jug full of pennies, like coins, little coins of 5 cents, 10 cents of euro. And, I left it there. I didn't even think about it. And then it got to a point that it was so bad. All my friends kind of turned on me. Some friends came to me and they were like, Rosa, you're really bad. Like, because I started going out a lot, and I didn't want to go out with like normal places because I hated people kind of throwing themselves at me. Like, I was just so over, man. So over fucking dating. So over everything. Because obviously breaking up with my ex-husband, 4 months later, getting into a 1.5 year relationship. When I broke up with him, or when we broke up, everything hit me. It was like everything. Like, the first boyfriend, this 10-year relationship, this 1.5 years, and then it was like in my face. So I started getting really sick, like really, really sick again. I wasn't taking any medication back then because I started slowly taking it off. Obviously, I was drinking so much, I couldn't take the medication. And in a way, I think I wanted to die. I didn't care. Like, if I have an allergic reaction and I just die, like, please do me a favor. Like, I want to fucking die. Like, I just don't have the guts to be able to do it. In that moment, I had no understanding of anything, not how your brain worked, not manifestations, no nothing, like nothing. I was just a blank piece of paper. But I always listened to my gut. Like, my gut would always kind of guide me through where I needed to go or not. And sometimes I didn't trust it because I was fuck, like, I went through this and this and this and that. And like, why? Leave me alone. But anyways, so I get to this new house, and things just kind of started getting out of control. So I used to go out with my gay friends and go to gay clubs because like that, they wouldn't bother me. They wouldn't, and I could have fun. And if I wanted really to be with someone, always the bartenders or whatever, they were always straight, and then I would have fun, and that was it. But it got to a point that I was drinking so much, I was doing so much drugs, I was just so lost that a few friends, and I consider them friends because a real friend does that shit. They stopped me and they were like, we can't be friends with you anymore. And I went, wait, what? And then nobody has told me that to my face. They were like, we can't be friends with you anymore, Rosa. You've gotten out of hand. Like, you better yourself or we're just not your friends anymore. I felt so ashamed. I felt so alone. I started getting really sick. I started counting pennies to be able to eat. So I could only eat once a day. And sometimes it was just like a little Maggie satchel of soup. Even I had a friend that she worked in one of the cannabis shops, because they have like cannabis kind of stores that you go in there and you can smoke and stuff. And I was a member of all of them. So, but like friends and stuff like that. So I didn't really have to pay anything. But like, she would give me tortillas. So like little tortilla, like a Spanish dish that's eggs with potato. That was my food. Like, I never knew what really being hungry meant. I had no idea, because in a certain way I was a bit picky about what I ate and I don't like that, I don't like that. And when that happened, because I was like that for a few months, it was just crazy. I would walk past restaurants and I would drool. Like, I would drool because I was so hungry. I just wanted to eat one of the little chippies. I would look at the chippies and I'm like, the left chips in there, like if I can just grab one, like I'm so hungry. I was so hungry. I didn't have the basics. And again, alcohol and drugs were everywhere, but food wasn't as easy for me to get. And it was so tough because fuck, being hungry is so sad. It just makes you feel like I've never felt so ashamed, so worthless in a moment that I couldn't really even buy for a sandwich. Like, I couldn't really buy a $2 kind of thing, because I had to spend at least like no more than $1, no more than €1 in like a little Maggie satchel, or try to do something like that. Or, you know, if my roommates had a little bit of rice, I'll just get a little bit of rice, and with that try to like extend it for like a few days so I could eat. Bear in mind, I'm still doing this stupid job, and I don't go and look for another one. Yeah, it's like I'm trying to suffer. Like I don't know what the fuck was going on with me, but it was just, I was so blocked. So, you know, I sell this freaking apartment finally, and I was like, yay, I'm gonna get my pay, da 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 da. When I get there, and they're like, okay, so we take this for that, this for that, this for that, this for that, this for that. There you go. And they gave me like 2,000. So wait, what? I've been doing this for a year. You're only gonna give me 2,000? Like that. Did I sign for this? Because obviously I didn't even read the contract that I was doing. So they gave me nothing, practically. It was shit. Zero. Fucking shit. And I thought, okay, I have to go and get another job. Bear in mind, I don't have only €1 to eat. So I find this job that was like 20-minute walk, half an hour walk from where I lived. And, you know, he was like, okay. So I knew I was going to get paid in a month. So I was like, okay, so I'll just do it somehow, like this month. And it was a really good company. Like, you know, they were starting off, but like I get along with everyone, and you know, like it was a good product. But I had to walk to certain places, but they didn't know I was walking. They thought, you know, I'm going on a bus, or I'm going to public transport, whatever. But I couldn't pay for public transport. I couldn't pay for a bus to go to work, to come back home, or to go to any of the places that I needed to go to do the sale. So I had to walk all over the place. So I remember there was like in the 15 days that I'm working there, and like walking every day, and like here and there, like, you know, the boss kind of saw me, and he was like, I saw you heading that way. Why are you going walking? And I kind of broke down, and I said, you know, like I don't have any money to eat or like do anything. I can't pay for transport because I'm running out of pennies. Like that big jar of pennies that guy gave me, that's what practically kept me afloat for that whole month. I was like, you know, I can't. Like I'm counting, and I was waiting to go like at 11, 12 o'clock when there was nobody there, because it was so embarrassing for me to take out like a bunch of coins and like start counting pennies to be able to get a fucking satchel of soup. So, you know, he looked at me and he goes, why didn't you tell me you were going through this? Like, I'll make you a payment now. And I'm like, so I remember I called my cousin, and my cousin was like, oh, Rosa, like, what the fuck? Like, I'll send you as well something. Like, you need to fucking eat. And, you know, I was sitting there and the money wouldn't go through, and I'm like waiting, and I'm like, fuck, like, I'm so hungry. Like, I was dreaming about this walk to walk, which is like a little Asian kind of thing with noodles and stuff, and I would go past and it smells so good. It's like, oh my God, I just want to eat that. Like, I'm dreaming about it. When I received a message that I had got paid, oh my God, I was in the phone with my cousin, and I literally dropped to the ground, and I was crying. It was only like, I don't know, 200, 300 euros, because it wasn't much. And I started crying like crazy. I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to eat. Like, this is just, you know, like what the fuck. Obviously, if you look at social media and everything, I was always in the hotels, and I was here and I was there. So nobody knew what I was going through. Nobody. And I wouldn't talk to anyone, because I've never asked for help. Ever. Like, I could be drowning, and I'm like, I'm going to get it out myself. Like, I don't care. Don't help me. But anyway, so I remember eating. I sat down in this gutter, and I was eating, and I was crying, and I was eating. I was talking to my cousin. I was so fucking happy. And that in a way made me realize what were the basics? Like what it made me so appreciative of the present moment, of what the basics were, of being able to eat, being able to have a roof in your head, being able to, you know, because I was just, for me, I didn't even have money sometimes to pay for the rent, and I had to do certain things to be able to get money. I never sold myself. Even when I was counting pennies, they offered me one time to go to this party in Ibiza, and they were going to pay me 10,000 euros to just go to a party and look pretty and be fun. And I was like, you think they're not going to want to sleep with me? No. No, I'm not doing that. Like, I refused to do anything that got to do with selling my body, or doing something wrong, or doing something for other people that would damage them, or do anything. I was just, And I kept getting angry because I thought, what the fuck is my moral so there? But I'm like, I didn't understand anything of what was going on. So I started getting really sick, like really, really sick, that they had to do, like, again, test of my, my spine, my spleen, I think it is. They had to do, like, because apparently the cells from this mastocytosis thing come from there, so they needed to values, but like nothing will come up correctly, like nothing. Like they were just like, we don't know what the fuck is going on with you, like we think it's psychological. And like, didn't get support, didn't get anything. And it got to such a bad point that I remember I was walking through the city, even though I had this job, but it was just not enough. I was so discontent with my life. I was so sad. I never thought that leaving him wasn't a good idea. At some point I thought, like, what the fuck? Like, I should have just, like, handled it. Or, like, I didn't know this was going to be so fucking hard. Like, what the hell is going on? And I remember my mom sent me a message and she goes, oh, I don't know what the hell. And I go, Mom, I miss you. Like, I wish I could see you tomorrow. Like, I didn't have to say anything else to her. She called me and she goes, come back home. Like, that's it. And I was like, I don't got no money. Like, I have nothing. I'm already, I think it was 31, 32. I felt so crumbled. I felt like nothing. I felt like, what's going on with my life? I was doing a lot of drugs. I was doing a lot of alcohol. I didn't really even have food to eat. I was doing this job just to kind of get it done, but I was like in a month and a half or something like that when I called my mom into the job, so I only got like 1 payment, 2 payments, but enough to kind of cover whatever thing. So no, well, actually 3 months, because I did save a little bit of money and I started traveling a little bit, because I thought when my mom said, just come back home, something in me told me I wasn't going to come back. I was like, I have a feeling that this is it for Barcelona for me. Like, I'm just gonna sell everything and I'm gonna go. For some reason, I just think that I'm not coming back. And I remember even walking and saying bye to the city, because it was really hard for me to leave, because for me it meant my independence. But even though, because obviously I was so used to fucking shit and trauma, I didn't see it as something bad. I just felt that was, it was my freedom in a way. I was going to go back home to live with my mom. I'm 31 and I'm like, okay, so I'm just going to go. So I found this job where they told me, you can come to London, because I was working for the UK market for most of the time that I worked in Barcelona with these companies. And they told me, just come to London, you'll be able to get a good job. I had a cousin there too. So I thought, well, if I'm going to change Barcelona for London as well, I'll just go to Colombia for a few months. I'll leave my bags here. I left them in Amsterdam with a friend, like all my winter clothes and stuff. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go to Colombia for 4 months and then I'll come back and I'll go to London. I'm going to say bye to Barcelona. Well, I was a bit right. I never came back, but I was just in such a low point, like such a fucking low point. Like I think it gets worse when I get to Colombia, way worse. Like COVID just sent me all the way down to hell. But I thought I was in hell in that moment and I had no idea of what was going on. But in the next episode, we're going to be talking about a few things that are a little bit of a supernatural kind of and stuff, and a little bit of crazy shit. And me kind of going up from there. Barcelona taught me a lot of stuff about myself. I think I found myself within all that mess and all that shit that was happening as well. I can't regret the time that I was there, because it taught me so much about my working abilities, about me kind of moving through that whole trauma, because I was in Barcelona almost for 3 years. But it did show me a lot of myself, even if it was bad, but it showed me as well what I was tending always to do. Same type of people, same type of situations, same type of shit. And it allowed me to kind of grab it and go, okay, let me have a look at this shit. What's going on? Okay, now I'm understanding a little bit. I'm just a bit stubborn, so I had to go a bit more downhill for a little time being. And then here I am. in a very good way. I love myself. I'm learning how to know what I like, what I don't, what type of music do I like, what colors do I like, what do I like to do, what's my hobbies, do I like to go to the beach, do I like to mountain, because I never did what I wanted. I always did what other people did. I blended in, like that's it. I had no personality. I was just dependent on who I was with them. Dependent on who I was, I walked, I talked, I did, I liked whatever those people would like, because I was trying to fit in. It is what it is. So we are going to leave it here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I hope that the message was clear. I couldn't really think even what I was going to be saying on these times, because there is a lot of shame within me of the decisions that I made. And I know now that those decisions were perfect to take me where I am right now. But in that moment, I didn't see him as that. I was like, it just got to a point that I didn't want to live, but again, in a really bad way. Like these next years, finishing off Barcelona to all these years in Colombia, I felt I was worth nothing. I didn't want to live. I seriously wished anyone would have taken my life. Like I would put myself in situations where I don't know why am I alive. I don't understand it. Like I really tried to fuck up my life. I really tried. Even when I was traveling, because after that, I spent the money that I had worked in those 2 or 3 months. I went traveling all through Europe. So I went to Paris, I went to Greece, I went to all these places. And I had really tough situations in each one of them, because obviously I wasn't traveling with the best intentions. Obviously I was getting drunk and doing shit in cities that I didn't even know, languages I didn't even speak. So I got into really kind of tough defense mechanism kind of realities, you know, like I would go with certain people and then I just didn't talk to them anymore and I was just left alone. Like it was just really crazy. But again, it was all a repercussion of not loving myself, of keep always getting in the loop and always attracting the same type of people. So when I get to Colombia, and we're going to talk about that one in the next episode. I think we only have 2 more episodes to go within telling my whole life story. And then we're going to get into a little bit of what tools I used, what was the actual recognitions that I did, and how it helped me to leave all that stuff and not see it as something bad, but see it as something beautiful that taught me what do I do with my brain? How do I train it? What do I like? What do I don't? What do I want to keep repeating? What am I having in a loop? What was the actual thought that I had, or the belief that was created that kept me in that loop? And I've been doing it. Yeah. I've been doing it. I keep learning about myself every day. I keep experimenting with certain things that I know that, you know, I let go. I let go of ego. I let go of what I think I know best. And I just said, you know what? Like, let it just be. And I've been so surprised, and life has been so beautiful to me. In a sense, again, nothing's good, nothing's bad. Everything is just experiences, and everything just takes you to where you're supposed to be. So I've embraced that. I've hugged it. I love it. Now I'm telling my story. I really hope that the message came through clearly. I'm sorry if I kind of went from here to there and there to here, because, you know, again, for me, I think that before was very clear and very kind of structured, because things happened to me. But in this sense, it was like all me. Like, in a way, I was attracting this stuff. I kept in the loop. I got myself in shit. I got all this stuff. So it was really tough for me to talk about, in the sense of having accountability, that I couldn't really blame anyone else, because I was a victim. Oh, this stuff happened to me. It's like, stop with the victim mode and get into beach mode. Like beach mode, I mean, like, get your shit done. Take accountability for yourself. Don't stop blaming everyone else, but really be aware. Fuck are you creating? You're the creator of your reality. So what are you creating? It is as simple and complicated as that. Alright, yay, we did it, we finalized. I'm super excited to be able to finalize all this life story and be able to get into what helped me. So it could help you guys and know and understand and have the certainty that we create our own reality depending on what we've got in this beautiful little brain of ours. Wish you the best of luck. Sending you my love and kisses. And I will see you next week for my downfall. Welcome to my little hell from those moments. But as bad as it gets, that's when everything started going up. So, yay! I hope you like it, and I will see you in the next one. Ta-ta!